So that's why we need that distance from it, and we need to let it be free. Okay, so now let's do a little bit of instructions. These are the 3 steps to conversational hypnosis. Okay, so they're very easy. I'm going to explain each of them to you, and then I'm going to also say, and I also teach them over 20 hours and 100 hours if you take the whole course. So it's not just as easy as do these 3 things, but yes, these are the principles, okay? This is a principle-based method. There's no instructions, there's no script, okay? There's never anything to do other than if you don't know what to do next, go back to these principles. The principles are create curiosity or have curiosity in yourself and capitalize on your curiosity. Okay, so Perla, this is an answer to your question of, well, how do I actually elicit the change in myself? When you say to yourself, I'm not changing, I'm fucked up, I'm stuck here, what is happening is you're making a judgment of yourself, but you've lost your curiosity about yourself. So I want you to drop the judgment, drop the decision you've made, drop the evaluation, and retreat back into curiosity. You're a mom, so you know how it is with kids. Kids are always curious. But why is that? But why are we doing that? But why not this? That's the curiosity that's natural to us. So we want to go back to curiosity as our main touchstone. The second thing that's going to happen is based on your curiosity, you will get a response from the person in front of you or from yourself. Whatever that response is, you're going to evaluate it in just 2 questions or just 2 binary options. Is what I just received based on my curiosity conscious or unconscious? Of course, if you're not familiar with what I'm talking about and you're brand new, you're thinking to yourself, well, I don't know what the difference is. I'm going to show you that in a minute. But that's the question. What am I curious about? Oh, based on what I'm curious about, what happened? What happened next? Okay, is what happened next in the realm of consciousness or in the realm of unconsciousness? You don't know how to decide that? I'm going to show you in a minute. Based on what happens from that, once we move through the trance and curiosity, which bounces back and forth together for quite a while, or it can be quick or it can take a while, based on what happens there, eventually there comes a conclusion. Yes, I can take out the garbage. Yes, I can do that. No, I'm never going to take out the garbage. Okay. Whatever the conclusion is to whatever it is you're investigating, there's going to be a test at the end to see if something occurred positive and if it's something that's going to stick for the future. Let's drop the testing for now, since that's something that happens at the end, and just look at curiosity and trance. Curiosity. Curiosity is easy because it's natural. We're all naturally curious. When you talk to your friends, you're doing it from the point of view of curiosity, right? So you already know how to be curious. The problem with your curiosity is that it's usually motivated with the end goal. So we tend to be curious with our friends, like, oh, I'm having a bad day. Oh, well, what happened? That's curiosity. But if our goal with what happened is, okay, but are you okay now? And is there anything I can do? Then we already know what the point of asking the question is. That's not hypnotic. Hypnotic is an open-ended space where we don't know what the client or the friend is going to say back. So, very first important point is do not try to create some result. Do not have an expectation of what the person is going to say back. Oh, you're making me feel uncomfortable by never calling me when you're late. If you're expecting them to say back to you, oh, I'm so sorry, I will call you next time I'm late, that's not hypnosis. That's just regular conversation between lovers. If you say to them, how does it feel when I get upset when you're late? Then you're asking them an actual question that you're waiting for an answer. Or any kind of non-results based question is curious. You can't be predicting the answer. You can't be expecting what they're going to be like. This is why it's tough with your kids and your family, because we inherently know that they're going to react a certain way because we've lived with them. So it's tricky when it becomes personal. But this is the point of becoming aware of this. You cannot predict. You cannot pre-plan or strategize what you're going to get out of it. You can't script it. All you can do is place attention where the question exists. Just place attention on it. That's it. So why did you leave the dishes out? And what are you hoping to achieve from that? Just looking at the situation. Do you like it when the mess is out here? How does it make you feel? It's not saying, hey, I want you to clean it up. It's just saying, like, well, what's going on? Then the kid or the person you're asking starts to think in their own head with their own subconscious mind. Oh yeah, I also don't like it when it's messy out here. Or I don't care. So that gives you insight into how they think. Either way, it's moving towards subconsciousness. Maintain that attention and keep investigating based on what they said. Whatever they said, you want to ask the next question that you're curious about. Not what you want them to say, not the goal that you have in mind, but just curious, whatever it is you want to know. What do you really want to know is the question. This is where hypnosis becomes interesting. Not what do you think you should know or what does everybody else want to know, but what do you really want to know about what they just said? Why is that important? Because your subconscious is connected to their subconscious when you're really doing this with attention. If there is a real connection there, then what you want to know next is based on what they just said. Now we're building that mastermind or that connection that is trance. If you bullshit and ask something you don't actually care about, their subconscious knows that and will go off on its own tangent and will disconnect from yours. So we're building and building in order to create that capsule experience or that rapport experience. Milton Erickson is like the great grandfather of hypnosis, and there's a lot to be said about that, which I won't say right now because it's not the right venue. But what was really cool and interesting about him, among other things, was his ability to ask the thing that nobody else would ask. So a lot of the time, our friends and our family and the people we love are right in front of us and we want to ask them, well, X and Y, but we don't because we think, oh, that's politically incorrect or that's too invasive. So the question that nobody else will ask is usually a very hypnotic question. I would say 95% of the time. So we have to build up our courage to go there. So not only being curious, but being really honestly, genuinely curious. The curiosity has to always come off casual. As soon as I get therapeutic about it, it turns off in terms of its power. So we have to stay cool, we have to stay genuine. As Barbara said, you can feel from me indifference, but with warmth. So that's my genuine warmth that I really do have as a person. But also, I'm always going to stay casual because if I get clinical, your subconscious is going to know that I'm messing with it, and that won't work. I'm always respectful without being politically correct. So I am politically correct to the point of, respect and all of those things and democracy. But I do swear, I do like participate in real life because the subconscious does. If I remove all of my real street smarts and just do my PhD version, your subconscious will know that that's not the real me, that that's not the full, complete me. So you can't be in a posture or pretend. You have to be genuine because that's the truth of your subconscious mind. So be detached from the outcome and just observe what's going on. Do not be invested. Investigate the client without judging them. Let the subject lead you. This is very important. In conversations, so often we think I'm the leader because I'm the questioner, right? You guys all think because I'm the one who does the conversational hypnosis, I'm the leader of the conversation. But that's not how it is in my head. In my head, I ask the question and then you say something, you, the client, and based on what you said, I respond to that. So I'm the respondent, even though it seems like you're the respondent. This is where hypnosis becomes beautiful and interesting. And do you see how it's covert, right? Like you often think like, oh, well, hypnosis is behind the scenes, like it's something that's happening to me. It is because in that conversational experience, it feels like I'm leading you in a conversation. Oh, what's the problem? Oh, how is that a problem? Tell me more about it. That's me. But what's really happening is based on everything you say in response, I'm asking my follow-up question. So you're leading the conversation and I'm following you. You see how that's a reversal? That's where the pocket of hypnosis lies, right in that pocket, where I surrender my desire to be first and my desire to lead and my desire to help and my desire to solve. And I become really receptive. That's when your subconscious mind emerges. Okay, so again, we're not creating hypnosis, we're allowing hypnosis. Hypnosis is a natural state of mind. Anything that I ask that breeds or that invites a subconscious response, which I still haven't told you how to read, so I'm going to in a moment, whatever that is the emergence of trance. If I can pinpoint that and expand it and expand it and expand it and breathe more life into it and breathe more life into it, eventually what happens is what happens to all of my clients is, oh, I feel weird. Oh, something is happening. What the hell is going on? Where did my problem go? So you see what's happening is I'm just breathing life into the hypnosis that they are creating naturally. They're creating it. I'm observing it. As I observe it, I encourage more of it. That's it. I don't feel instrumental in the genesis of the hypnosis. So it's so important to let the client lead. Okay, what does that mean in real life? When you're a mom, you think you're the boss. You think you're the one running the house, right? Okay, you guys do this, you do this. This is what needs to happen next. Does anyone have any questions? But if you're going to do your family life in the hypnotic sense, you're going to stop taking on that role and instead awaken the subconscious mind of the family and of the subject and let them become the leaders and let them become the information source instead of you. So this picture of the kid is super cute because it's like, look at how focused he is on those little whatever they are. They have no meaning inherently. There's nothing really going on here, but he wants to know how to push them through. He wants to know where they're going to go. He wants to find out how they're going to fall. His focus is super, super clear on the thing he's doing. That's how hypnosis is generated. You get really interested on what you yourself want to know. Does that make sense? We're going to do a little experiment with that. Any questions on that so far? So like if somebody comes to you and says, I don't know, your friend says to you, okay, I'm ready to quit smoking, and you want to do a little hypnosis game with them, what are you going to say? You're not going to say to them, well, have you got the anti-chewing gum? Are you going to go on a meditation retreat? Why would you not say those things? Those are natural things to say if you have a friend who has an idea about quitting something. It is natural to ask them stuff like that. But why is that not hypnotic?
You're just offering the solutions yourself.
Right, exactly. And what's the problem for their subconscious mind when you do that?
I think you're going to give the solution or their solution is outside.
Yeah, they think the solution is outside. And what does that do to their subconscious mind?
Lazy
Yeah, it
and
tells
retreat.
it's not just laziness, it's that it's telling their subconscious mind somebody wants something from you. And
Mm.
because the subconscious is naturally programmed to stay the way it is, to survive, that's another class I can teach you another day about why does the subconscious not want to participate more fully. But the answer is it's a survival mechanism. It wants things the same. So as soon as you offer a solution, it says, "Oh, I don't want that. I want things to stay the same." So you didn't open any possibilities. You just said to it, "Try X," and it said no. Okay, so now where are you going to go from there? Now you're stuck. And that's what happens in life all the time, in family life all the time. Okay, but here are your options, X, Y, or Z. And they're like, no, none of the above. And then what do you do next? Okay, so let's say you go to the grocery store. What do you normally say when you're checking out? What's the normal conscious way of going about it?
Nothing, just thank you.
Thank you, right? Okay, let's just pretend that you want to make it into a subconscious experience. I'm more chatty than you are, obviously. But I usually say to them, like, how's the day going? Or, like, I don't know, what about the weather? You usually say something kind of generic. But let's say you want to make it hypnotic. And that's the
Um,
same for parties. We always just talk to people about regular shit that's boring. Okay, sorry, I interrupted.
no, I guess you just ask a weird question.
Yeah, like what?
How many cantaloupes have you sold today?
Perfect. That's so good, Barbara. So why would that create a state of trance, or why would that invite a state of trance? You
It
nailed it.
it
See, you're a
takes it
natural.
takes them aback, like it takes them by surprise. Just it's like a new pathway suddenly is awoken, I guess. I don't know.
Because when you ask somebody, well, how many cantaloupes have you sold today? Where is that information stored?
The subconscious.
Why would the conscious mind be tracking cantaloupes? It's never tracked cantaloupes before, so it's not. But the lady does know subconsciously how many, or man, how many, or they, how many cantaloupes they sold that day because they sold them. So the subconscious mind does know the answer. It might not know that it knows, but it does.
Mhm.
So you're exactly right, Barbara. Where that question takes the person is into the part of their mind that knows the answer to that. That's why it's a hypnotic question. Exactly.
It
That's,
creates
yeah.
it creates curiosity,
Exactly.
and
Now
it,
you've created
it
curiosity both ways. Now the person standing there is like, well, why'd you ask me that? Right? So now they're hypnotizing you. That's how hypnosis is created. Exactly. Now there's curiosity both ways. Like, oh, that's weird. Why would that person want to know that? Now their
and it's safe,
subconscious is, yeah, go ahead.
and it's safe, and you're not attached to the result.
Exactly. Totally no interest in how many cantaloupes there actually was. Nobody cares about that. Neither the person you asked or you. But where you both entered into is now a space that's totally private to the two of you. Like if you actually go do that, some of you are going to go shopping later, try it, and you'll notice, oh, I'm in this intimate space with a stranger right now. I'm in this intimate experience just for the split second. That's
Yeah,
the hypnotic experience right there.
there is no power play, right? It's
No
not a
power.
it's not a customer cashier relationship anymore.
Beautiful. Do you see how powerful what he just said was? We take our ego out, we take our idea of who we are and our persona out, and we say, human to human, let's play a game together. Because you have a subconscious mind and so do I. Let's just see what happens when we go there. Think about how lovers do that, right? Lovers do it all the time. Like, oh, we're beyond consciousness. We're beyond the real world. We're into our own world. That's deeply hypnotic. That's the exact same thing the cantaloupe question does. So you nailed it, Barbara. Okay, so then let's just pretend that we're gonna create an actual hypnotic experience there. So then the person says back to you, I have no idea. Why do you care about cantaloupes? And then what do you say? Or they just say, I have no idea.
I think we would both laugh.
Exactly. Perfect. And what's that? What's that going to create if you both laugh?
It's a connection.
Yeah, it's a connection. Now we're talking about hypnosis for everyone. Once you have the connection, you are already in that capsule experience. And from there, you can go lots of places. Because now you have just a little bit of trust that you didn't have before. Oh, she's cool. Oh, she's reliable. Oh, she seems like someone I can trust. Now the subconscious is going to emerge a little bit. It's going to step forward and be like, maybe I will participate with you. Do you see how that works? So the laughter is an unconscious moment. Remember I said before I'm going to explain to you what unconscious moments are? So now we're getting to that. I'm always looking for an unconscious moment in the client. That's what I always want. When they laugh and feel casual, their subconscious mind is going to allow me a little more entry. What about, sorry?
The defenses go down.
Exactly. The defenses
And
go down. Go ahead.
prefrontal cortex gets attached.
Exactly.
Now I'm mimicking your body language.
Exactly. And as soon as the mimicking starts, then then we're creating hypnosis together. As soon as we start to imitate each other, we're both in that same field together. And that's all that happens is we enter into that field and the field creates possibilities in itself. How do we capitalize on that? So now we got a subconscious moment out of somebody from asking a curious question. How do we build on it instead of lose it? Because you could say to her, like, okay, did my credit card work? Will that create another subconscious moment?
No.
No, because then you're going to be right back into the real world. She's going to type into her thing or he's going to type into his thing and blah, 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 nothing exciting. But let's say you want to capitalize on it and make more subconsciousness. Then what? What would you say? Laugh? Huh?
You keep building. First, it has to be safe. It has to be curiosity.
That's right. So build on the curiosity now. So you're both laughing. You're at the thing. You did the cantaloupe. You're both laughing. So now build the curiosity. What would you say?
I would say, oh, sorry.
Go ahead, Barb. I want to hear
it. I would say, so I ate 18 so far this year.
Okay, right. And put it in a question so that you have a reciprocity instead of a statement. Always ask a question. You notice that I always ask questions? I never really make statements.
Yeah.
I always ask questions in my process. So put it into a question, either Juan or Barbara.
Yeah. For me, it's also play with the silence and the moment.
Yes.
So, that's interesting. So create more space.
Beautiful.
For uncontrolled next lines.
Yeah. In a clinical setting, the silence is super powerful. In a party or whatever, it's a little less so because then they become suspicious of you. So in a clinical setting where silence is expected, I think yes. If you're at a party or you're at the grocery store and you allow silence, it really invites them to go either way. So try a next question that's curious.
Yeah. Like, and like create wonder, right?
So what would you ask? Let's just pretend we're doing it for real. What would you next ask?
So, so you don't know how many cantaloupes. So how many you think people bought today? So I don't know. Let's go pull that string, right? Or what do you remember you saw? So
yeah, you could ask them, what's the last cantaloupe you remember? That would be a decent question. Anyone else?
I would just ask her what's her favorite fruit from there.
Yeah, I agree. I was thinking, do you like cantaloupes?
Yeah.
What I was also thinking, like, how many do you think is the most number that gets sold in a day? Who's the last person who bought one? What do you think they were going to do with it? All of these questions create this kind of mystery, like, I don't know the answer, but let me check my mind. Let me check on that. Do I remember the last person who bought a cantaloupe? What do I think they were doing with it? Were they going to a party? Were they going to eat it for breakfast? It's totally irrelevant what happens, but what's interesting about it is where the person went. That they went to their subconscious mind. Does that make sense?
It's interesting because if you ask them, do you like cantaloupes? It sort of brings a lot of attention to them. But if you had said, well, then, have you been tracking the watermelons? To me, that doesn't have the same effect.
Okay, and so how do you decide which of those is the more hypnotic direction?
The one that you or the other person doesn't have the answer.
Yeah, but you could that still creates strategy where I would have to know. So I don't assume that I know. I never assume that I know the answer. So it has to be a little simpler than
Well,
that.
one feels neutral and one feels more engaged in those two questions for me.
Which one is more engaged?
Right. Well, what do you like, Rod? Or do you like the cantaloupes?
Yeah. So which one would you ask to keep the
That
bill?
one.
Exactly.
That one. Yeah.
That's right. Exactly right, Barb. So the question is not what do I want from this answer? What do I expect them to say? But what do I feel curious about? What do I think would be interesting to know next? Okay, so let's move it forward one more step, and then I want to give you a chance to have a little practice. Of course, everything always takes me longer than I think. So we've already been talking for a while. You're always asking this question, what's worth asking? Not what do I think will help this person? What do I think will get them to their solution? But what's worth asking them? I always want to know that. Fractionation. What is a fractionation? A fractionation is what I've been talking about for the past 10 or 15 minutes, which is the experience of going into the subconscious mind to find something. Okay, so when I love that Barbara gave us this amazing example, which is, so how many cantaloupes did you sell today? Because that question, being a non sequitur and being a confusion tactic, which are regular traditional hypnosis tools, the fact that they are that it has that question has those characteristics immediately creates a fractionation. What does the fractionation mean? It means that the person was here selling cantaloupes, right? Out in the real world. This is the conveyor belt. And then you say to them, how many do you think you sold today? And then where does her consciousness go? Into the, I don't know where the subconscious mind exists. I just always point to the back of my head. I don't know that that's true. It could be out here in the quantum field. But anyway, let's pretend it's back here. So she goes to retrieve the how many cantaloupes, and then she's out of reality for that moment in her fractionated mind, which means in this part of the mind that's segmented off. And then she comes back to you into reality and says, gosh, I really don't know how many. And then the next thing you want to do is not let her hang out here in the conscious mind, but ask her to fractionate again, create another fractionation. Well, what do you think the last person who bought a cantaloupe was going to do with it? I don't know. I got to think about that. Again, a little retraction from reality. Let me think it over. If she doesn't want to think it over and she's like, stop asking me questions, go fuck yourself, then she's going to stay here in consciousness, which is fine. Sometimes people say to me, I don't know, or I don't know, or I don't care. Okay, fine. So then they give me a conscious answer. That's fine, but I'm aware of it. So fractionation is this little trip that people do to retrieve information. That's why the conversational method is so impressive and so effective. Because as I lay more and more questions out, the fractionation becomes faster and more dependable.
And
Okay, so yeah, go ahead.
Maya, how would you have this conversation with yourself? I mean, it's clear what you're saying, but I'm in my bed thinking I want to program myself or hypnotize myself.
Yeah.
How am I
Well,
going to ask something that takes me out of my comfort conscious form?
well, what do you think is different from doing it inside of your own head rather than with another person?
Well, I'm going to be chatting in my comfort zone. I can think myself asking myself questions like, oh, why do I want to stop smoking?
Right.
Why do you want to stop smoking, Perla? Like, it's not going to make any difference.
Well, one thing I want to say is with addiction and with problems and trauma, I do think you need a practitioner. I think it's very difficult to talk your own mind into revelation. I think that's why I have a job.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
honestly, I wouldn't if people could solve their own problems, they would. So the fact that they can't is because the mind is constructed to protect you. So the fact that it is protecting you is normal. If you want to achieve this level of introspection and this level of self progression and self analysis, then you have to work with yourself on the question of why can't I get past the limit? Then you get curious about that. Well, what's stopping me? What am I getting out of staying the same? Why am I attached to my current reality? If you feel that that's circular and never ending, then by all means, get help.
Okay, but it's not about tricking ourselves.
There's no trickery in hypnosis. I don't think I trick anyone, and I don't think it's possible to trick people with hypnosis. All hypnosis is consensual.
But I mean, we can't create this loop of going to our subconscious, even though we are trying to do it purposely. That's what I'm
We
saying.
absolutely can, but we have to know how. If you do it with the intention of forcing something on yourself, your subconscious mind will resist that. So
Okay.
you have to get clear with yourself on, am I actually inquiring with myself or am I forcing myself? If I'm forcing and judging myself, there's no hypnosis happening. I'm just being mean to myself. Well, then don't pretend that that's hypnosis. I get this a lot where people are like, but I am doing self-love. But be honest, are you? Are you actually doing self-love and being curious about yourself? Or are you actually just trying to find a reason to beat yourself up, show yourself why you can't? I mean, that's the important part of this course today is what's the difference between curiosity and nagging or expecting or forcing or judging? Because that's the stuff we tend to do with regular people. Oh,
Yeah.
I'm just distracting myself. Oh, how's it going? What's going on? Well, that's not really a hypnotic intention.
Yeah.
So it's a two-part answer for you. One is, yes, you're right, it is difficult, and that's why, my job exists and lots of therapist jobs exist. But secondly, if you examine the approach you're using with yourself and find that it's not really curious, but it's motivated somewhere else, then don't attribute that to hypnosis.
Mm-hmm. Good.
But there's a little bit more to it, so let's do the rest of the slides. So I left you at fractionation, which is that checking. Now we're going to do, well, how do I build on that answer that the client gave me? How do I create more fractionation and not less fractionation? Because it's easy to take somebody out of subconscious thought into conscious thought. How do we guarantee that it becomes more and more subconscious? Well, the only way to do that is to really avoid solution-based questions, to really not help them, to really not fix it, to really not give advice, but also to really, I already said this, there are no wrong questions. All questions will lead you there in the end. Ask questions nobody else will ask. Sorry, let's just go over these before we do the unconscious moment. So here are some examples of questions that I might ask somebody instead of a conscious question. So somebody says to me, oh, I really want to quit smoking. So instead of saying to them, oh, well, did you buy the gum or have you tried meditation or whatever, I might say to them, well, what's stopping you from stopping? Or how do you want to feel instead of smoking? Or stand to lose or gain from quitting? These are the types of questions that I use, and I'm going to give you a best of questions sheet for you to use on yourself. What's not fun about that? That's exactly like what Barbara said about the cantaloupes. When you say to somebody, oh, you smoke, so what's not fun about that? It doesn't make them think, oh, I should stop smoking. It makes them search for the answer to what's not fun about that. That's fractionation. What are you learning from this experience? That creates fractionation. When did you first feel like smoking? That's going to create fractionation because they have to go back in time and think about a childhood or teen memory or early adulthood. That's creating regression, right? Which is a therapeutic term that I'm not going to talk about today, but that's the idea. The fractionation now goes back in time. So you're letting them try on different ideas and try on different answers and different versions of themselves. That's the choice making. Okay, but so we were trying to answer the question next of how do you enhance fractionation? How do you create more fractionation? As you investigate the client, observe them. Observe the person more than the words. If you're doing a phone call, listen. If you're visual, look. If it's both, combine both. I feel my whole energy field reads people, not just my eyes and my ears. I can feel things, like I have a sense of what's going on through my aura. So I'm observing the person. I'm observing the way they answer more than the answer itself. So if somebody gives me an answer that's deadpan, so what are you going to do after work today? And they're like, I'm going to the gym. Well, that's not a very subconscious answer. It's just a conscious answer. I'm watching them. They're not doing anything exceptional. But if I say to them, what are you doing after work today? And they like sit back and look off to the side and say like, I think I might call my mom later. Well, that is indicating to me that something else is going on. So I might say to them based on that, do you have a good relationship with your mom? Or what are you guys going to talk about? Or why are you calling her today? So it depends on how they answer. If they give me a conscious answer, like I'm going to the gym at 4 and then I'm going to make dinner, well, that's not very interesting. But if they say something that betrays another opening, I can follow that. So knowing what the baseline is for a person is very important. Like you can read your children's subconscious mind super easily because you know what their conscious baseline looks like, or your spouse or your family. That's what I'm doing in my job, is tracking what the person looks like in their conscious mind versus when I start to get into their subconscious mind. And I'm watching for this unconscious moment. I'm always watching for the unconscious moment. The unconscious moment is sometimes visual, like a change in skin tone, a change in coloration. They smile, they frown, they blink a lot, they look to the side, they tilt their head, they cross their arms. All of that are visual clues of unconscious moments. And there's so many of them, I can't list them all. Auditory cues. Sometimes somebody will give you an answer like this. So, what are you doing later? And instead of saying, I'm going to the gym, they say, I think I might. It might just be that they're clearing their throat, but it might be that their mind is trying to communicate something that's coming out in an auditory way. Laughter, crying, screaming, raising a voice, lowering a voice, change of tone, slowing down of patter, speeding up of patter. Anything that's outside of the norm of what is regular for that person is a subconscious experience, a subconscious moment. So some of them are visual, some of them are auditory, some of them are energetic or whatever you call it. That's why I have a picture of magnets, because sometimes I can just feel somebody pull away from me. Sometimes I can feel them pull towards me. Sometimes I can feel their opening. Sometimes I feel their closing. Sometimes I feel that there's something that's unsaid, that's floating in the ether. Then I might say to them, what are you not saying? What's missing from that? Sometimes I feel they're holding something back. So I say to them, are you lying? Or is there something you're holding back from me? So whatever energy I'm feeling is what I'm curious about. And I'm not pretending that I'm not curious about it, because I am, right? Sometimes you feel somebody do something and you're like, oh shit, I better get out of here. But that's not hypnosis. Hypnosis is moving towards it. So whatever the energy is, what their eyes are doing, what their skin tone is doing, their breathing rate, their emotional response, the speed of their response, the voice quality, the feeling, the vibration. Okay, now I know what's going to happen next, is Perla is going to say, but how do I do that inside of myself? That's the fun of self-hypnosis, is your subconscious mind lives in your whole being, and it will speak to you in certain aspects if you give it your attention. So like some people say the spleen is the way that you can like make decisions, because the spleen tends to have an energetic or emotional receptor in it. So sometimes you feel your intuition like in your gut or in your spleen. For some reason, I feel it in my right leg. That's where like my subconscious like lives some of the time. So sometimes when I know I'm going towards my subconsciousness, I'll get like some heaviness in my leg or some pulsing in my leg. That's taken me a long time to like figure out what it is. But that's the idea, is you yourself also have subconscious responses. Learn to track them, learn to pay attention to them. But now back to other people. So what we're doing is receiving the information and immediately evaluating, is it conscious or subconscious? If it's conscious, I put it in the trash because I'm not a conscious therapist. I'm a subconscious practitioner. So I never care about the conscious response unless it's important information. I care about the subconscious response. If it's a subconscious response, what do I do next with it? If I see an unconscious moment in the client, in my kid, in my partner, in my person I'm talking to at a party, and I want to build more, what do I do? What principle do I go back to? I know Valerie knows. What is the answer?
Fractionation.
Yeah, but how do you create it?
I forget his name. They create more space.
Yeah, but what principle? We have two principles so far. Remember the principles of conversational hypnosis? Oh, there's more than two, but for today's purposes, I've given you just a few. These ones. These are the principles that we're using. Curiosity, unconscious moment, testing. So if you notice your client or your friend or whoever is giving you a subconscious answer, then what? You go back to you only have three choices.
Curiosity.
Yeah, if you're here, your only choice is to go here unless you're at the end of something, then you go here. But usually you're between these two because nothing has definitively happened yet. The only time you would go here is when you're like, yeah, I think I should call a lawyer for my divorce. Now I'm going to test my conclusion. If you come to a conclusion, you test it. But if you're here, you always go back to here. Oh, so I got an unconscious moment. Laughter. Now what am I curious about? Go to that. How do you decide what you're curious about? How do you decide what you're curious about?
Nonverbal response.
Yeah, nonverbal response, unconscious moment in the subject, exactly. And how do you decide what to say?
Intuition, energy.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Your curiosity is intuitive to you. It's your curiosity.
yeah.
So what you
Like,
want to know next is what you want to know next.
it's for me, it seems like that if you don't open your unconscious, you cannot connect.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly right. And so what you're telling the class right now is my next slide, which is utilization. So what is utilization in hypnosis is exactly that thing that Juan just said, which is when you open your subconscious as a hypnotist, then the client opens their subconscious, and then you catch the ball of their subconsciousness, which is why I have the baseball, and you throw it back to them in a curious question. And then their answer is either conscious or subconscious. So either you catch it if it's subconscious or you discard it if it's conscious. And that's the interplay that creates trance. Utilization is the label for whatever the client gives you is what happens next. That's the premise of Ericksonian hypnosis, is to utilize whatever is happening. If it's laughter, utilize that. If it's heavy blinking, utilize that. If it's coughing, utilize that. If it's an unconscious answer, follow the answer. So the pattern is simple. Curiosity, wait for an answer. Don't answer for them. Don't interrupt them. Wait. Based on what happens in the waiting and in the response, either the answer is conscious or it's subconscious. If it's subconscious, build on it. That's how the pattern is generated. As you can see, it took me an hour and 45 minutes, which is more than I expected to even explain that. So yes, does it take practice to identify subconscious moments, to learn how to pursue your curiosity? Definitely. You do need to practice those things, but those are the principles. Curiosity plus unconscious moments is what creates trance. That's how you create a trance, is be curious yourself. Don't be scripted, don't be strategic, don't try to help, don't predict what's going to happen. Just stick with your curiosity and then notice unconsciousness in the client or in yourself. And let those two things together invite or create a natural state of trance. I don't know if I have time for testing, so I'll leave that off for the moment, but let's pause there for questions. I thought that would only take me an hour to say. Okay, any questions on the slides or any of that? I do want to give you guys a little moment here to practice, so, or at least to see it. Okay, so somebody volunteer just to, we're just gonna see your subconscious mind at work. We're not gonna solve a problem or anything, but we're just gonna observe you. Does anybody want to volunteer for that?
I can do it.
Okay, perfect. Do you mind turning your screen on, or are you not comfortable with that?
Sure, sure. I'm laying down, so let me sit up.
Jody, do you want to ask questions?
Sure.
So we're not doing what's the problem. That's more of our clinical. Hi, nice to see you. That's more of our clinical thing, but we're gonna start more with like casual. So what do you do for work would be a nice easy place to start.
Okay.
So,
Hi, Juan.
I
So what do you do for work?
work in cybersecurity.
Was that a conscious answer or a subconscious answer?
Conscious?
How do you know?
It was fast.
Yeah, he didn't even think about it. I mean, he started answering before you even finished the question. So clearly he didn't go anywhere to get the answer. He just knows the answer. So it's conscious. What are you curious about, Jody?
So much.
I know we're pretending in a way, but we're just checking
No,
out.
I know, but really so much. Do you enjoy your
Yeah,
work?
good question.
Yes, I do.
Conscious or subconscious?
Conscious.
Yeah.
What's your favorite thing about your work?
Helping
Oh,
people.
what did you see there? Anybody?
I look up.
Yeah, exactly. He did know the answer, but he's now like on the very edge of, oh, I had to go check something for that. See, and he himself knew. So Perla, there you have an answer to how consciousness works inside of our own head. He was self-aware enough to know that he gave a subconscious cue. Because I said, oh, what happened there? He said, I looked up. Did he look up consciously? No, he looked up unconsciously, but then he realized he did it. So his unconscious mind became conscious. That's the practice of hypnosis.
Cool.
Go on, Jody.
What's your favorite part of your work?
Oh, you see how easy it is, you guys? Look, we didn't even do anything. Oh, and there's the smile, another subconscious moment. So now we have 3, 4, 5 subconscious moments. Even though I'm talking, he's still doing it. I'm interrupting him. It doesn't matter. Oh, there we go.
Resolving problems and worries for people and companies.
What's satisfying about that? Oh, there we go. See? Nailed it.
Makes me feel useful.
Okay. Jody, what do you want to know? Do you see how easy it is to go into somebody's mind? So now he's not talking about his job. He's talking about how he enjoys feeling useful. Now we're talking about something very intimate and personal.
Where else do you feel useful?
Beautiful question. How else do you feel useful? Do you see how interesting it already is? Not casual. We're like 1 minute into it.
I
Where else
feel
do you feel useful?
useful listening to people.
Nice.
Does that happen in your world often that you get to listen?
Yes.
Yes. In what capacity?
I'm a recovery alcoholic and I attend lots of meetings, and I I did a lot of years of anger management, and I always try to speak less and at the last to control my anxiety and my desire to fix and control everything. So it's a challenge to my own patience.
So beautiful. Do you see how intimate that was between Jody and Juan already? So now he's already said, here's something huge about me. Here's something very important. Jody, by the way, is an alcohol addiction specialist. So you two attracted to each other, I would say, energetically here. So I know, but Jody, what was the big subconscious moment that you got out of that answer? Did you notice it? Or anybody? Do you guys see it? When you rewatch the video, you'll see it. There was like this. If you're watching me right now,
He
there was,
blinked.
yep, he blinked, but
He
what was
blinked.
it, Dahlia? What was it? Give me more specific.
He blinked. He looked up. He paused at some point also, and he got slower.
Yes, now you're talking. That was it. He
It was the
blinked.
search.
It was the search, but it
That's
was
what I
the
call it. It's
blink,
like
but
it's
then
the search.
it was the one eye closed,
One
and
eye
then
blink. Yeah.
then there was a few words after that were slower. So Dahlia,
Mm.
you were dead on with that. But it was the this with the few words after. That's what's telling me, oh, his subconscious knows something is happening right now. And I'm curious about, me, the hypnotist, I'm curious about what it was just trying to tell me. So that's the kind of thing that I'm doing when I'm working. It's like, oh, that was weird. That was the first time he gave me that. So that's what I would put my attention on or put my interest on. Obviously, I'm interrupting a ton right now, so it's hard for you guys to see it. But go on, Jody. Let's do another couple. So what do we know so far? That he's a recovered alcoholic, that he is in digital expert, but he uses his skill mostly in meetings, which is important to him. So you see how we're investigating the question, we're investigating the person, we're gathering information, and based on that, we're building up our next curiosity. What is it?
About what you try and control.
Okay, so what's the question?
What is it that you try and control in your world?
People suffering.
People suffering.
Mm.
How does people suffering affect you?
It connects to my own suffering.
Is suffering you're something familiar with?
Yes.
Yes.
What do you understand by it?
That
Nice.
we are what that we are one.
Beautiful, yes. I mean, obviously we're just playing right now, so it's a little bit it's a little weird because we don't know where we're going with it. But based on the answers you've seen so far from Juan, what tells us that Juan is fractionating? Because he's already given us a very good litmus test of what's his baseline versus what's his unconscious kind of hallmark. What is it?
He looks up.
He looked
Yeah.
up. Yeah.
Exactly.
Mhm.
He just has this one little thing that every time he fractionates, his eyes look upwards. Does that mean that that would happen for the whole of 2 hours? Maybe or maybe not. All I'm saying is this is the job. The job is what is unconscious about this person and what can I put my attention on to help them go further into that. That's all we're doing with this little exercise.
Mhm.
You don't
That was
see it.
really
You
cool.
don't see it much, but there is also the dropping of the shoulders.
Yes.
So my arms are on the table right now, but usually in my experience, when people are connecting subconscious to subconscious, the shoulders drop.
Beautiful.
And, yeah, and the pitch of the voice. either goes up or down, because I think up is resistant and down is more like, okay, let's dance.
So I'm going to caution you to never make generalizations like that because it's
No,
all
okay.
different. Some people, their shoulders go up in subconsciousness, some go down. Some look to the left when they're lying, some look to the right, some don't look anywhere. So I don't use any of those NLP or any of those books that tell you what is what, because every human being is different. So it does. What matters is what's different from your conscious mind that I'm observing to your subconscious. Not what did I read in a book should be happening, because that's really scripting. So that's not my style. My style is like examine each person, check out what's interesting about them.
I also saw subtly his mouth flared a little bit when he started feeling a little energetically. It always seemed like he was going to cry in saying, like, felt a little choked up by it. On top of
Beautiful,
the eye going up, but the nostril also flared.
Amazing. Do you see how subtle you're able to already see that? That's why I love seeing people on Zoom, because I get to look straight up in their face and it's super intimate.
Yeah.
That's exactly that's the
I
stuff.
attend the 7:30 meeting every day, and my name is Crying Juan. So I cry a lot. So.
That's so cool. I love that you said that, because Dahlia, who doesn't know you, because her subconscious is paying attention to your subconscious right now, she picked up on that. And that happens all the time in session where somebody says something like, well, how did you know that? Well, because our subconsciousness are talking to each other. So that's very cool what you guys just did. That's evidence of the hypnotic and trance mindset.
It was very cool.
Good job on you, because you just started even learning this 5 minutes ago and it was already obvious to you. Okay, let's have one more example so that you guys can see it in somebody else. Thank you, Juan.
Thank you.
And of course, when you come to the real training, we'll go through the whole example and solve a problem for you. So that's the idea. But today we're just, Jody is like, yeah, do that. But today we're just playing around with it. We're just experiencing like the principles. But that's the idea, is instead of what do you do for work, we say, well, what's the problem? And then there's a problem you can solve from there. How do we do it? By investigating it with curiosity and unconscious moments. So I realize that I'm almost out of time now, so I'm going to go for another like 10 or 12 minutes so you can see one more. And then I'll stick around for questions. And if you need to leave, of course, you'll get a recording link so you won't miss anything. But let's have one more person come out here and so we can just see what's your subconsciousness look like. Anyone want to volunteer? Don't make me volunteer myself.
Snaya, we would love to see volunteer yourself. Let me question you.
Go ahead. So let's do it.
How do you like all the things that you have in the bag, what they mean for you?
All these things behind me?
Yeah, but tell me things that they mean for you.
Oh, that's so interesting, Perla. Good question. I mean, for one thing, they mean a lot of debt. For another thing, I'm proud of them because it's all the work that I've done. For one thing, they're gold, which is my favorite color and the color of my brand. So they make me feel happy. I'm proud of myself. In a way, I feel like it's ridiculous because it's all bullshit, and we all know that all the papers we put on the wall means jack shit. So sometimes I just think, oh, I'll just take them all down and be a regular person.
What would be a regular person look like for you?
You see how easy you guys are so good at this. That's so fractionating. Why do I think of myself as not regular? Because I have degrees. Do you see how that betrays a bias in my head that is probably giving me problems in my life? That's exactly how you zero in on people's problems.
I'm going to pass you my bill.
That's right. Send me your bill. So what was the unconscious moment right there?
Laughter.
Yeah, it made me like crack up the fact that I realize that I don't think that I'm regular. And I'm the one giving the class, and this is my office. So shouldn't I know all that stuff? Why don't I? Because my unconsciousness is just like yours. So what's my
Your eyebrows went down a couple of times, up, I mean. Also, you touched the left side or right side of your face. So you're buying time to rewind the tape.
Excellent. You guys are good.
And you blink a lot.
I was just going to say, and I'm looking at myself and I can see my blink rate is changing based on where we are in the conversation. So that's also part of it. I also see nodding. The nodding is also subconscious.
But
But
did
even with
you?
the first question, you dodged it. You repeated the question. You bought time to
Mm.
answer.
See how you guys are all going to be kick ass at this. Exactly. And what does that tell you?
But it was related to your second answer because it was about the things on the wall. So already there was like a little, let's call it discomfort.
Exactly.
Just describing those things, but deep down, you probably have some contradictory sentiment about how
So
important
now
that is.
you're right. I want you to follow your intuition now and just ask me the most basic hypnosis question is what are you feeling right now? Because you perceive that I had a feeling, which is right. So now you're curious about that feeling. So then all you do is ask about it. So now you say, "So what are you feeling then right now?" So ask me. Go ahead.
So Maya, what are you feeling now?
Exactly. Because you perceived that I felt something. So my honest answer to you is, yeah, when we started talking about the degrees on the wall, I felt something in like my lower left abdomen. I felt like a little like prickly up or of something. And I didn't like it.
Maya, what you haven't told us, how do we now change the message there? That's the next class or what?
Yeah, where is
Okay.
this going?
What makes you think you're in charge of changing something?
No, but I would like to be able to focus now my attention to somewhere else. I love what we're doing now, but now I just want to be able to gear it probably somewhere.
Where did you get the idea that you're in charge of any of this?
I was in the slide 2 or 3 that we can't, right?
That's no, because I'm glad that you're asking, but the answer is that's not what I'm teaching you. I don't do hypnosis that tells people where to go or that directs them towards transformation. I don't do any of that. I let the fractionation do that for them. So what's going to happen now? Let's play a little game. What's going to happen now? We've only done 3 questions with me. This is hilarious because I'm the fucking hypnotist, but I'm the one on the spot now. What's going to happen with me now when I hang up this call and I go to have a snack or whatever? What's going to happen to me? Just guess.
You'll
Gonna
think
think
about
about
your
your
degree.
titles.
I'm gonna think about why did Barbara, who knows me like remotely and is not even a friend of mine, how did she pick up on that I have some discomfort about my degrees? And do I have some discomfort with it? What is my mind gonna then do with that?
Look for the solutions or the change
And
or
it's
whatever.
gonna process with and it just gave me chills. So obviously I'm on the right track because I feel it all the way down into my legs right now. What's gonna happen is my mind is gonna now put attention on that and either move into some kind of open space of solution or is gonna say, I'm stuck here, I need help. One or the other both leads me forward in life. That's the power of conversational hypnosis is once you've heard it, you can't take it back. Once it's operational in your mind, you will be responsible for that thought. That's why when people don't have a breakthrough in my office, it never phases me, it never worries me because their mind is now attached to whatever is happening and has to pursue it on some level.
Your awareness just got expanded.
Exactly.
Maya, I have a question.
Yeah, please.
So when you started, I was having a hard time deciphering whether I thought that part of you slipped back into like conscious stuff. At some point, you started going really quickly, and you were just talking about like, I don't know, gold or whatever that you were talking about. Was that conscious?
That's a very good question, Dahlia, because it would be nice if everything was discrete and the conscious mind was in red and the conscious mind was in blue and, life was clear, but that's not reality. The soul is layered. That's why I don't believe in traditional hypnosis of like, let's just transcend the critical mind, which is the conscious mind, because that's nonsense. Where are you going to put it in a box? What are you going to do? Send it to Mars while you're doing your 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, close your eyes? Like, come on, be real. That's not how it is. So if it's always with you, then it's going to be mixed with the subconscious answer. That's the whole subtlety of working with this discipline Was it more or less? Was there part of the answer that led in that direction? How can I put attention on that? That's why there's so much going on. Is it always going to be, oh, it was a conscious answer or a subconscious answer? No. It could be there was a subconscious, moment inside of a conscious answer. That's what I want to look at and capitalize on.
But if we
So
want to have something guided more like we have done with the other presentations you have with exercises, then it would be
that's not
using
conversational hypnosis. I will just say it like very clearly, and I was actually going to say that at the start because I know that you come to my things sometimes for a certain specific reason. That is traditional hypnosis. And I love it. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with it. It's totally powerful, but it's not the same access to the individual. That's why I can do it in a group. This one I do one-to-one. So you're right, that's different. She's talking about a class that I do in January every year where I do closed eyes hypnosis, where you go into a certain place. That's not this. And by the way, I just want to say to you too, Perla, to me, it's not as powerful. It's not as valuable.
But it's
Because
pretty
I'm guessing.
miraculous.
It is. It's really cool. I'm not saying it doesn't work. I mean, obviously, it's been going on for hundreds of years and I still sell it and I still do it. So I'm not putting it down, but it's not dependable and it's not predictable. If I have 10 of you in front of me and I say, close your eyes, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, let's explore your mind, I don't know what's going on at all. I know what's going on for me, and I know I'm a good hypnotist, so I can make something happen. But if someone is coming to me with a problem and I want to track their problem, I don't want to tell them, hey, I'll guess while your eyes are closed. Because look at the people who come to me, doctors, lawyers, CEOs. They're not interested in me guessing. They're interested in an efficient problem solving because they have other things to do.
Yeah.
So if I tell them close their eyes, they're going to be like, oh, another lady telling me to close my eyes. Come on, please get real.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Is there a reason that you skip the 8?
Did I skip what?
The 8, 10, 9, 7, 6.
Why do I skip that?
Yes.
Did I skip a number?
Yes, 8 twice.
Good subconscious observation. That's funny.
Yeah, it's Asperger's. It's
I'm
not subconscious.
I'm sure there's a reason that I don't know about. I must have some like deep avoidance. I don't know.
Number
I'm
8
gonna
is usually it's
what?
infinity when it's laid down, right?
Oh, see, so maybe there's some deep work for me to do there. Here's the testing slide. It does take me some time to explain, but I'll just give you the quick summary of it. Once somebody comes to a conclusion, like for example with Barbara and her little soldier, so I could say to her, let's say I take her through the process and she ends up letting the soldier reassign a job and do something different. So instead of closing her off from transformation, she makes it a soldier of change. Okay. And somehow we get to a place where she says, yeah, the soldier is on my side now. And it's not even a soldier anymore. Now it's a Zen master who's encouraging me to, grow. Okay. Well, I made all that up, but let's say it came out of the session. Then I would want to test that. I would want to notice, oh, she made some progress with it. So then I would ask her a question to see if she's satisfied with it. So if it's a Zen master inside of your head who encourages you to change, instead of a mean soldier who doesn't let you and who acts all addictive and annoying, will that serve your life more? So I'm putting her in the problem, back in the problem, and asking her, will it solve it if you're back in the problem, but with your new idea? And either she's going to say to me, yeah, I feel a sense of relief, and that seems like it's better, and I feel happy, which is now what my whole method is about, is, oh, she led herself into something new. She tried on a new suit, which is the Zen Master suit. Or she says to me, no, I still don't like it. I still don't feel good about it. Then what do? Is go back to my original principle of curiosity and keep observing her unconscious moments. So anytime you get to a point of turn or a point of clarity, then we stop the whole thing of curiosity and unconscious moments, and we just play around with the solution and see if it sticks or see if it needs more investigation. That's a very watered down version of how I solve problems. The testing is less important for you in this context of this class because we're not focused on problem solving. But I did think to myself, like, well, what if they are, troubleshooting with their kids, for example, and so, or your employees. So maybe you are troubleshooting a problem and you say to somebody like, it bothers me that you were late for work, so tell me more about why you were late. And then you get into some kind of conversation about that. And then, well, how, is that important to you? And what do you have to lose or gain from being on time next time? And then the employee starts to say, oh, I'm really sorry. I will never do that again. Next time I'll text you. And you get somewhere with it. Okay, because they invited their own solution. So then I would want to circle back and test it and say something like, so you think it'll be better if we agree to talk about this Friday after work? Or what will happen if it comes up on Tuesday or Wednesday? So I'm just giving them a different context or a different solution and asking them, well, what about this? And then based on the criteria of the what about this, either they're going to say, yes, I want to persist with my solution, or no, it's not satisfactory. So that would be something you could use like in the context of family life or in the context of running a business or in the context of management or patients. But that's a whole different thing. Right now, we're really focused more on the connection that creates the subconscious moments to begin with. But that's the whole picture. Okay, so now I'm a half hour behind, so I'm going to move towards letting you go. But does anybody else have any questions or curiosities about what I said today?
It was very cool and informative. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm so happy. I'm so happy to have you. Okay, well, there will be a part B, so stay tuned if you have ideas or questions. Like I said, I've not taught this course for everyone until now, so there's tons I could say about my process, how to do this, unconscious moments. I can have a whole seminar just on unconscious moments. I have to do a whole thing on just problem solving. So you guys message me, find me on Facebook, Instagram, email, text, whatever. Tell me what you got out of it, what you want to know next, and I will continue to innovate something cool for you. If you have problems with it, if you run into a troubleshooting, post in the Facebook group, which is a public group for all of my students, including my full course students. So don't be overwhelmed if you see stuff there that you don't know what it is. It's because other people have taken the long form course, but you're in it now. Post a question, I will answer, or one of my students will answer, and you're now part of the dialogue of hypnosis and the hypnotic world. So welcome. Use it wisely. It is a super powerful medicine. It is a super powerful tool. So don't be a jerk about it. Don't be dismissive about it. Don't be casual. Pay attention to what you're doing and use it as a tool for positivity and change. Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Thank you.
My
Thanks a lot,
pleasure.
Sarah.
Thanks.
Super happy to have you all. I'll talk to you all another time.
All right.
And you
Thank
will
you.
all get an
Bye.
email. You will all get an email linking you to this course so you can rewatch it if you want to. So give me your feedback and I'll see you next time.
Thank
All right.
you.
Thank
My
Thank you.
pleasure.
you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
My pleasure.
Bye.